from the Vintage Gardener. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go over my growing system for seeds. So I am a big proponent of the winter sowing method. I feel like the winter sowing queen. If you guys have been following my channel, then you know last year I did like 2,800 containers. I believe in it. I had phenomenal results. It is definitely my go-to method for winter sowing. I will always winter sow. I'm a big fan of trying to mimic nature as much as possible with the seeds. I find that they're a lot sturdier. They handle, like, you don't have to harden them off. It's just great. You don't have to deal with issues like, you know, fungus. So I do, last year I did early winter sowing in the cups that were out on my driveway. And then the way I typically do it is a modified version where I start it in my cold frame, which gives you similar results. I had great results in there, but some plants do prefer to be started later, which is why I did them in the cold frame. So this year I set up an indoor system because, number one, I do have houseplants and some of them do need a little bit more sun than others. And I don't want them stretching towards the sun, even though this room I'm in gets a lot of light, and it has like a bank of windows plus 3 skylights, and it's south facing. Sometimes it still has to reach for the sun. So this is going to supplement it. And so I kind of rotate them a little bit, but they seem to be doing pretty good. The other thing is that some seeds, just some, a couple of things I want to grow do require a lot more control than winter sowing allows. The two things I'm definitely starting indoors are Lysianthus, and I'm also starting germander. Thirdly, I am starting some herbs indoors because I would like to have some fresh herbs for cooking. So I will, start them over here. I do have a small setup, grow light over near the stove, but at a certain point in time, those herbs are going to get too big for that, and I'm going to have them growing under here. So. But like I said, this is not going to be my primary seed starting system. I do want to get another rack to put on the other side. And that one I actually may build from scratch from a container store, because I would like to put my citrus plants, which are a little bit bigger, on them. Because I think that with the citrus plants, I think they'll do better if they have a little bit more they have more light. If not, then I'll probably get like a lamp and just plop it over there and replace the bulb with a grow bulb, and that should probably be sufficient. So if you're going to grow things indoors, number one, even if unless you have like a hardcore solarium, and this room is not even a solarium, like I'm talking about a hardcore, like, south facing, basically greenhouse, kind of like one of those lean-to greenhouses that are essentially attached to your house. Growing plants indoors is going to require some grow lights. If you don't have grow lights, your ceilings are going to be, they're going to stretch. They're going to be like, and when I say stretch, you'll notice it looks like they're growing really fast, but even though they've had their first set of leaves, like, there should not be a lot of distance between their first set of leaves and their second sort of leaves. So let me give you an example. Okay, so here's one. This is Nasturtium. Nasturtium is an herb. It tastes kind of like watercress, which is why I'm growing it indoors. So these are the first 2 true leaves right here. Okay, as you can see, there's already a second set of leaves coming out right here. As you can see, it's not that big. Like, it branches right here, and so right there. So it's less than an inch between the soil and where it starts branching to make more leaves. That's the way it should look. Okay, so now let me show you something that I kind of ruined. Okay. This is oregano. I kind of ruined it. It seems to be recovering because I do notice that they have the second set of leaves on it. But let me see if you can see how fine. These are really fine filaments. I didn't realize these had sprouted. And so I do have a grow light. I forgot to put them underneath of there. So by the time I caught it, it shot up like this. You kind of don't want it to do this. You want them to be short. You want them to be short and compact. So they are recovering. I do see a second set of leaves, so they probably should be okay. I have to give these some water, probably a little bit of fertilizer, and they should be good. So let me see. I think there's one other. Let's see. This one right here is. I killed. Oops, it's basil. I bought some more. You can't see anything because I killed it. I'm not sure why I started that in terracotta. Definitely not the brightest idea on my part. Terracotta dries out a lot, so I would not recommend it for seed starting, but for transplants, it's definitely great. The nasturtium, oddly enough, took to it, so who knows. I'm going to restart some herbs, but I'm going to use my solo cup terrarium, which is a solo cup with a milkshake lid on top of it, because that works really well. So you definitely have to have grow lights. So now, if you have the money and you want to go to Gardener Supply and buy the pre-done one for $700, I'm happy for you. I do not want to spend that kind of money. I mean, for $700, I live in a 200-year-old house. There's plenty of projects I can use for that. So I did a more economical version. So this rack right here I got from Lowe's. It's 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide. I went with the 4 foot wide one because most of the grow lights are like 4 feet long. There's also some that are 2. I like the 4 foot long ones because obviously you can fit more stuff. The other thing is that container store. I don't know if you guys have that around you, but with a container store, you can kind of build your own. So, you know, if you have, let's say, a really tall ceiling and you want to go up, I don't even know how long the rods are, but you can buy fewer shelves, like you can customize it. I'm going to put a second rack in this room. I think I'm probably going to do the container route because I want that to be a little bit more custom. So there's that. This right here, I'm trying to think. Did I pay $80 some? I think I paid $80 some. I think they recently changed the price on it, but I think it's $80 some. So now with the grow lights, I went with the GE ones. Now you don't have to do that. You can get shop lights. If you're going to get shop lights, you're going to want to get 2 bulbs. Potentially. A lot of people recommend you get a cool or a warm and a warm for a full spectrum of light. If you go into where they sell the fluorescent bulbs, they actually do have a plant one that's already supposed to be balanced. You can get some of those and put them in a shop light. I did not go with shop lights. The reason I did not go with shop lights is because, let's put it this way, with what was in Lowe's, the ones where you could put your own bulb in, you couldn't link them. And so basically, I have 4, I would need like four for this particular setup. I don't have enough outlet space for that, and I didn't feel like trying to daisy chain things with extension cords, because to me that's just asking for a house fire. And so they do have shop lights that are linkable. The downside that I saw when I was in Lowe's was that they were only cool white. They didn't have any warm white, so that you could get one of one and one of the other and that sort of thing. They did have a shop light by GE where you could adjust the spectrum on it, but that was really expensive. It was more expensive than just buying the GE grow lights. So I just bought the GE grow lights. One thing all the shop lights and the GE grow lights all have in common is that you can link them. Usually you can link up to 8. Right now I have 4. The one I'm going to be starting my seeds on is down here. That's why I have two of them, because I want to make sure that the seeds are getting enough light. Each of them comes with a chain, so you can lower it and raise it depending upon when your seeds are, because you don't want to start it really, really high, because then your seedlings will stretch to grow it. So start really low over the seeds, and as the seeds get taller, then incrementally bring it up. So that's how that works. So I have my 4 linked together, and I have it on what's known as an Embrighton surge protector. And the reason I went with Embrighton, because with the Embrighton surge protector, which you can get from Lowe's, it's like $31. It's got 7 outlets. 4 of them are just the typical on all the time. 3 of them are controlled by Wi-Fi, so you can schedule them to come on and off. So allow me to demonstrate. Okay, and you can do that by your phone. The real benefit to using that particular Wi-Fi plug is that I can schedule them, because it's on your phone. You can schedule them when to come on. When you're doing seedlings, they do need a lot of light. They need at least 12 hours, if not more. 15 hours actually may be more like it. I will have to check. They do need a substantial amount of light. Like I said, this is the south-facing window, so it does get a substantial amount of light. So for me, I would probably start these lights at maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, turn them off at like maybe 9, because that's when the sun really gets around here, and then maybe around like 3:30, 4 o'clock, turn them back on again, and then turn them off at like I don't know, 10 o'clock at night or so, just to make sure that it gets a lot of light. So the other thing that you may need if you're gonna seed start inside is a germination mat. Some seeds really do need a substantial amount of heat to the roots. Like some plants, like for example Lisianthus, which is what I'm using this for primarily, needs, I think, soil temperature 70 to 75 degrees. Now I got this from Amazon. It was 2 in a pack. I think it was 2 for $22. I know that Lowe's has a mat by Fairy Morris. It's 25 for 1. So I would recommend that you get it on Amazon. Now the one downside to this mat, and I think even the one on Fairy Morris is like this too, is that there is no temperature gauge. What it says on it is that this mat will keep the soil 10 degrees warmer than your air temperature. And I don't know how this mat is going to know that, considering the fact that there's no thermostat. So that just seemed to me to be a recipe for burning the living daylights out of your seed roots. So I noticed on Amazon that BN Link, who's the same people who makes this heating mat, has this thing, which is a thermostat. Now the nice thing about this thermostat is that you don't have to use it with the BN Link. If you have other heating mats, you can use it. So basically what it is that this one goes into the wall. You plug your mat into the thing right here, and then here's the temperature probe. You stick this into the root system down like an inch and a half, and then this right here is how you set the temperature. And so basically, it turns on when the soil's too cool, and it kicks off once it gets to a certain temperature. So that way you make sure you don't burn your seedling roots. And I think you can set this up to like 104 degrees, though I'll be quite honest, I don't know what. Actually, I take that back. There is a plant I think could probably get away with doing that, and those are peony seeds. And if you, I'm going to try to link it somewhere. Go back and watch some of my peony seed videos, because you practically have to solarize those seeds in order to get them to sprout. So setting this at a high temperature may actually work. So I got 2 mats. I also got 2 of these thermostat things. Thermostats, I think, were like $18.99. They do have a version that's double, so you can plug 2 in. I did not do that. I mean, eventually I may get one. I did not do that because the other thing that I have to start is germinator. And if I remember correctly, germinator, the temperature is different. So with the other one, it's like it sets the temperature for both. I don't think there's a way to make them really independent. I don't think you can set two different temperatures. But those are, you know, some of the things that you definitely are going to need. So, you know, yeah, it's an outlay of money. You know, obviously I can reuse these things for years to come, but it's just something to keep, you know, just something to keep in mind if you're looking to start stuff indoors. Also, you're going to need a fan, you know, outside when you're doing winter sowing. You know, the wind, those seeds are getting wind. They're blowing, they're getting strong that way. Obviously indoors you don't have that, or if you're winter sowing in the cold frame, which is what I do, it gets a little bit of wind, not as much as outside, you know, depending upon what you're doing. You know, for example, in the cold frame, if you're doing cut flowers, you may want to leave them in there because you want them to be a little bit more protected and, you know, and have longer stems, that sort of thing. There's all these sort of things you can play with, so definitely consider what you're actually doing, starting for, and that'll kind of like kind of guide you in terms of what you need to do. So I think that, well, that's it for my seed starting system. You know what, play around with it, see what you like, see just what works for you. You can, the nice thing about building your own is that you can really customize it. With the shop, now with these grow lights, now just so you know, GE has 3 different types of grow lights. One is like seeds and greens, like flowers and fruits, and I want to say something in herbs. Okay, and listen, at the end of the day, GE is a company. Their bottom line is the bottom line. So they will reformulate stuff 50 bajillion ways if they think you'll buy money for it. Do I think you need to have specifically the seedling lights? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think it's going to matter. Each one of them specifically says that it's a full spectrum light. So if it's full spectrum, why they're saying this one's for, I don't know. I did turn them on to try to figure out, was there anything different? They do look different. The ones that are down here, which I think is flowers and fruits, have a more reddish tinge to it. And that's because when I flipped it over, it's like, it has 2 reds, a white, 2 reds, a white, 2 reds, a white light. Whereas these two right here have, it's like 1 red, 2 whites, 1 red, 2 whites. So like I said, I don't think it's making a difference. I showed you the nasturtium that I did. I don't believe that's not the seed. I didn't get one for seeds and greens. I just used one of them, and the nasturtium is doing absolutely fine. It's doing just as well in terms of growing as it does when I do it outside. So I don't think it's necessary to buy one specifically. If you're really concerned about it, you know, buy a couple and mix and match them so that there's more of a spectrum on, you know, over your plants. With this particular setup, you know, for house plants, and if you don't have a lot of seeds, 1 per row is probably going to be fine, especially because, like I said, this room does get a lot of light. But for seedlings, you probably want to get 2 of these and put 2 in a row, so that way your seeds aren't, phototropism isn't causing them to lean towards light, because I can tell right here that my microgreens, which I need to harvest, are starting to lean towards that little light. So that's just something to keep in mind. So that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Winter sowing, like I said, is my favorite method. On January 14th, I will be doing a Q&A on winter sowing. I will be doing on Podbean. I will also be live casting it to YouTube Live as well as Instagram Live. I'm going to, I don't anticipate, I'm not a, hotshot YouTuber, so I don't anticipate that I'm going to have a lot of questions, so I'm anticipating that I'll be able to monitor all 3. But if you actually want to call in, like a phone call, and talk to me, then you'll have to use Podbean. I'll put a link in the description. That way you can tell me this is my problem. I can ask you some follow-up questions if need be, and it can be more of a conversation. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.